Cool. So I was listening to your recording or the um, conversation you sent me about, is it Amadis Saint Germain or?
Yeah, I'm not sure how he pronounces his name, uh, but it's about Heaven's Cross,
Yes.
and that, yeah, the meaning changes depending on how you spell it. So um, I can just tell you what I know, or you can tell me what you know, and if you have any questions, and we can just go from there if you want.
Right. It
Let's
was,
just start off right off. This is March 22nd. That's 2 weeks away.
yeah, yeah. Basically, it feels like it's piggybacking on the energy that's shifting today. Like with this full moon that also has the new moon element that is ending the 3 year cycle with Saturn. And as I was reading the journal and then listening to that conversation you sent, and then um, Christina and I were talking about the power path, and it's all the same thing. It's breaking these old bonds. But I'm finding breaking the old ways in layers of myself and my environment and my family that I didn't even know until like 3 months ago, 2 months ago, 1 month ago, that needed to be shifted.
Mhm.
All of
And
it.
all of the thought leaders out there are saying the same things
Yes,
in their own voice way.
exactly. Yeah.
And as far as that goes, we're currently in the full moon with this new moon twist, and then we go to the new moon with the full moon twist. But the thing is, and I'm going to call him Adamus.
Yes.
What he said is, yeah, well, all of that's all the periphery. Heaven's Cross is not associated with any of that.
Okay.
So it was like, that's really interesting. But what Heaven's Cross is all about is, um, for a very, very long time, thousands of years, we have lived under an energy that doesn't serve us. And we know that now. And what's happening when Heaven's Cross is, this is it, it is quote the apocalypse, but don't think that word is nasty, because what that word really means is the unveiling or the opening. This is the veil opening so that we can access it more freely. This is I'm so stoked about it. I am just, this is going to be wonderful.
Yeah.
And for those of us who are kind of in that groove, yes, it is. I mean, we will probably feel it, but there's going to be a whole lot of people out there who, and we know many of them, who it's not there. It's going to be a normal day, just like anything else. They're not going to notice anything different.
Yeah.
This is the beginning. This is like, we're all in our own movies. We're all in our own theaters. And this is the veil opening, the curtain opening, the beginning of it. This is not the curtain is full open. It's not going to come flooding into us.
Right.
It's going to open a little bit at a time over time, but we get to be here to see and feel the beginning of it. Yeah, shivers, shivers.
I just,
It gives me shivers just saying that. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm the one delivering this now.
it's so exciting. I'm both wanting to shout it from the rooftops and be so quiet and sit in the forest all by myself. Like, I'm
And
just
you should be doing both, not at the same time,
yeah,
but you should be doing both.
yeah,
And his main point is, and this is what all the other thought leaders are saying, um, is this is the time to look at all of the past, love it, release it, let it go. so that you can allow the light that is coming through the veil to shine in.
Mm.
So there's a lot of releasing going on. There continues to be a lot of releasing. Basically, what he says is we should be releasing absolutely everything from the past and basically starting a new story. And that's like, wow.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing. I mean, Ram Dass said that, 40 years ago
Yeah.
or 50 years ago, be in the moment. The way we prepare for this is to let go of everything, to be in the moment, to allow, which means to look at everything with non-judgment and allow it to be.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. That doesn't make it quote right, wrong. It doesn't make it good or bad. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Not everything is going to change all at once. If it changed all at once, we couldn't handle it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's
Exactly.
going to be changing slowly, but it affords the possibility of changing. And what has made this happen at this moment, they've known it was coming for a long time. They didn't know exactly when. But what's happened at this moment to make it be able to come through is that there are now enough people on the world who are thinking and feeling and being like we are. And now there's enough of a collective to be able to allow it to happen successfully.
Yeah. Yes.
And I'm just like, wow, wow.
I know. I know. I know when the time, like the people that I've heard talk about this, I just smile. I just smile and I feel so,
Blissful.
yeah, but it but those English words aren't enough. You know what I mean? Like
Oh yeah.
it,
Oh yeah.
it's like it's like a combination of it's
There are no words in any language that are good enough. They don't describe it at all. The feelings I've had recently, I just, you know, all I can do is let it beam from me. I can't say anything that explains it.
yeah, it's so true. And it's coming through in very unique ways too. Like my Scott and I, the last few nights, have had these incredibly fascinating conversations. And I love good conversation, right? That's what I do. And I love like with you and with Christina and Katrina and like all of us who gather together. And I love listening to people talk too and getting their stories. Like I just love like the depth of people. And yeah, like Scott and I have been questioning and slowly reprogramming some things that both of us have noticed need to change within ourselves, within our relationship, within the families that we are a part of, but also like within like our bigger structures, the environment, the people that we mm, sometimes spend time with, or the people we want to be around more, and just what does that look like and why? Like really questioning, does this fit or not? Like moving forward, what's the purpose? And maybe it's because we're also getting older and tired quicker and no, but I just feel like that it's just this beautiful like lotus flower opening up and going, here. Like this is
Welcome, see me, see my beauty.
yes,
Yes.
that whole see me thing, that has been very raw for me. I not in like the like Hollywood way see me. I just want people to see me. Like see me. Like the core. I haven't figured it all out yet, and I don't even really know what all that means, but there's been some really interesting exploration. And yeah, and then listening to these speakers and people who channel and different different leaders have been, it's been so empowering and so like, okay, I'm not alone in all of it. Yeah.
And that was the whole message, if there are enough of us out there that it is now able to come through,
Yeah,
you're not alone by any means.
exactly.
And the whole point of it is you never were, none of us were. We are all part of the same whole. How could we possibly have separation? But now we are able to actually see that and bring it into ourselves and incorporate it in our lives.
Yeah.
And to me, it's just, ah, I can hardly wait for the 22nd.
Yeah. Yes. Do you?
Although it's actually happening now already. So
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
you were saying?
Have you heard of any um like, are we supposed to just be aware and feel the feels and the energies, or like meditation's good? I know Adamus Saint Germain was talking about how don't get hooked, like don't get wrapped up in all the like extra rituals and the distractions, right?
The
So
methods, yeah.
yeah, but and so I haven't 100% finished that recording, but have you heard of things that we can do for those of us who are awake and will feel this somehow? What can we do?
Yeah. Well, everybody thinks you have to do a method, and they usually think you have to do a method for X number of minutes a day.
Right.
This is not true, and it hasn't been true for me for some time. What it is for me is the method becomes a lifestyle. Yes, before I do a podcast, I take a few minutes and I try and get in the flow and in the zone and things like this. I also live it every day, all day long, throughout my life, in everything that I'm doing. And that's basically where we're going is, yes, we have all these methods and all of them help and all of them have a place, but they all work together just like we all do, just like we all do. And so one method may work for one person, one method may work for another. That's all fine and good. But as Ram Dass said, at some point the methods become a crutch. We want to, they're tools in a tool belt.
Yeah.
You bring them out when you need them and you use them as you need. But you also understand that the method is not the way. Now I've gone into about gazillion different lines of thinking here, but you understand that this is what we've been feeling, this blissful feeling, this joy, this unfathomable gratitude.
Yes.
This is how we're supposed to live all the time, in every moment of every day.
Yeah. That's shocking to the system because most of us can't get there on a regular basis.
But that's why we've been working on it for so long. And it's been months now that the energy waves coming in have been actually reprogramming our cells. Our whole physical body has been changing
Yeah.
on a cellular level, on a micro level, and on a larger level. And that's the reason why, is because now we can handle it. There's enough of us out there doing this. We can now handle this way of the thought of this way of being, and we can now work toward that. Maybe using the methods as tools if we need to, but that's the picture of where we're going,
Yeah.
is to be able to live like that. And not just one person here and there, but all of us.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, it takes time and patience for the self. Like, I talk to my clients about when they're over in the negative, not having to like jump all the way to the positive, because that's not doable, right? You just can't do it. It's not even fathomable. Half the time when we're telling ourselves, I'm not good enough, to tell yourself that I am good enough is not even realistic. So getting into that neutral zone, right? And saying, I'm working on this. I have faith. I'm gratitude. I'm grateful. Like something within that zone to get us out of the negativity and then into that other state. And, you know, the blissful feeling that I've had on and off, going to be totally honest, it hasn't been like a constant. I still live in this world as a human being right now. It hasn't felt like it's a different kind of contented bliss instead of like the super exuberance and happiness and la 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 la, you know, like it 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 has a different type of depth and a different sense about it, but it's that ease almost.
Yeah, and it's that calmness, that ease is the flow that we are supposed to have and we're meant to have and are moving toward.
Yeah.
But yes, none of us, not even I, can live in that state constantly now. There is this world around us. It is doing all sorts of interesting things, you know, and you know, the best I can do is to say, and I say this, I don't know how many times, especially as people will point out, did you hear about? It's all part of the same thing. It's all the same thing. It's the changes, it's the things that we need to see and bring to light so they can change.
Yeah.
And people just like, and I'm like, okay, if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't, that's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
But it keeps me centered and grounded. I don't get caught up in the news or, you know, whatever happens to be happening.
Yeah. Yeah, that's powerful stuff. So speaking of power, we are in the moon. We are in the full of the moon, and she's been gorgeous. We've been very lucky to have clear skies the last few nights, and even when I get woken up at 4:44 in the morning, her brilliance is still shining above and around our blackout blinds. And I'm like, I see you. So it's been interesting the last few days. I've recognized that I've gotten a bit more intuitive with I was gonna say certain people, but I think it just depends on who's calling for me louder. And I have to be very careful because the way that I have the intensity of some of the stuff coming through isn't always the human aspect of the person who's calling for me. So I've had to hold myself back from bothering that person all the time because I can hear their spirit as opposed to the human aspect who might like delete me from their, you know, like I could message them quite often and I'm just not that type of person either, like on this level. I yeah, it's been a really interesting journey the last probably month. So when I did it again, there was apparently a student who um, needed to talk to me urgently, but I actually didn't know her. She had left a message last week and I didn't get back to her until yesterday, but I had this like surge again, call this student. And right in the moment, she had been meditating about the situation. And she's like, you must have heard my thoughts. And I'm like, probably. So it's been really interesting.
Yeah, I've been doing these kinds of things too, with people and not with people. There when it's like, how did you hear me? I asked these three questions, and I said, I want specific answers to these three questions, blah blah blah, and the answer came back, and you answered blah blah and blah. I mean, yes, that there was a connection, and I knew that this person needed to hear something. And I'm typing away, and I type away and type away, and then I think, yeah, I should hit send now. No, there's something else I need to put in there. What do I need to put in there? And put in more. That was the third question.
Cool. Nice. Awesome.
But what happened to me just this morning, I've been listening to 936 hertz music, which is like um, heavenly music or something along those lines. I can actually hear it playing in my head all the time, even when I'm not playing it. And I hear it note for note.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow. So yeah, this is all, the veil isn't just going to just crack open and wow, there it is. It is already cracking open, and we are preparing for it. And it's all of these things are going to become commonplace with everyone eventually. Even those, and this one came to me today, even those who are riddled by fear, because there's the old saying, you can tell a guilty man by the way he protests his innocence. You can tell a fearful person by the way they protest their fear, and by the way they project their fear. And I'm like, wow.
No kidding.
They're obviously living in fear, and you can tell it.
Yes. Yes.
And they will protest up and down. No, I'm not. I'm doing blah blah blah. Fine.
Yeah.
It's fear.
Yeah. For sure. And that's what a lot of these, spiritual people have been talking about, is not sitting in the fear. Right. Yeah.
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 One of the biggies on this, and you probably have people doing this right now. I have had several incidents lately, and it's becoming so much more common. When a person dies, people are taught they need to feel grief. This is not necessarily so. And I think that's going to be changing. The grief is usually a fear within us that we don't have what we had before, or all sorts of other fears that go along with it. But when you really look at the situation, that person has just been freed from a meat suit, which was very tight.
Mm-hmm.
And they are now free, they are in bliss, and they have unconditional love surrounding them. There's a cat on the other side. Okay, I'm holding you. But they have unconditional love surrounding them. Why are we sad? Are we sad for ourselves because we want that now? And our inner selves are like, yes, I want that. But we can share that while we're still here on this earthly plane. We don't need to wait. We can share that now. And we can treat birth as a sort of a death. That's when you're coming into this meat suit and you're going to be confined for X amount of time. And death is freeing. That's the real birth, because you're being born back into oneness.
Yeah.
But we can have that oneness here. And then you don't have to worry about where they are or are they physically here anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, I mean, everybody has this grieving process and they go through it and they have to do whatever it is necessary. But I'm having people who get to a certain point in the grieving process and things break open for them. And I mean, break open. And they are now completely in a different spot than they were even before that person went to the other side.
Mm.
And it's just amazing to watch, amazing to be part of.
Yeah.
And it's, I just, the world that's coming is just, I just, there's no words for it. It's just unfathomable.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree. And everything talks about end of an era or breaking the old habits and balancing that spirituality and the physical aspect, right?
Everyday life, yeah. You
Yeah.
still have to go to the grocery store,
Exactly. Exactly.
but you can do it in a different way.
Yes. Yes. Well, and the funny thing of it is too is even in our journals, from Yasmin, we this today and the cycle of Saturn going from, what is it, Aquarius to Pisces or something.
I think it's Pisces to Aquarius, but I'm not sure about that.
Okay. Um, it's for me, it's everything with this full moon is like domestic, and then everything with the new moon element is like business. So it's arching all aspects of my life going, okay, like the whole thing. You just gotta like go to the drawing board and figure out what's what and what's good and what's not, and just like, all right, almost like decluttering.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Adamus said. That's what everybody else has said.
Yeah.
Declutter everything, your physical space and everything inside of you.
Yeah.
Let it all go. Make space for what's coming, and be allow that space can be filled with the light that's coming.
Yeah.
And how do you do that? Well, you do a whole lot of deep thinking and looking in very little deep crevices, and you find, oh, I thought I worked with that years ago, didn't I? And clean it out and clean it out and clean it out.
Yeah.
As if you're preparing to be on stage,
Yeah.
because we are. You want to put your best foot forward at that time. And so whatever you can do to make yourself clean and whole.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
And he said, everybody should practice the letting go, the release and letting go, and the allowing. He was very big on the allowing. Allow, allow.
Yeah. I love it. I'm mindful of your time. Would you like to get going? I'm just gonna.
What time is it?
So as we move through all of this, is there anything that you want to just share? Anything that we haven't already?
I think we're pretty well there. I think that we know what's coming, when it's coming, and how to prepare for it. The rest is a personal choice, and each person is going to have to choose what they do with this information.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So I think that's just to back it up with, you have a personal choice here.
Mm-hmm.
This is a huge event. This is an enormous opportunity, but we all have to choose what we're going to do with it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can feel some people going, like anyone that we share with, some maybe like, so wrapped in their physical world that they, well, I can't do anything big right now. Like, this is too overwhelming, da 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 da. But I think what you and I have said is it's it's the consciousness of the change, the baby step that we first take into a magical garden, even if we don't know what's around the corner or behind the magic door. It's we took a step, right? And we want to learn more. And maybe I don't get to listen to another video for another 2 months, 2 weeks, or whatever. It's having the openness to the concepts of change.
And allowing the change to come in through and with you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, allowing. That word. Yeah, I love it. And I have to do that all the time. Like, some of my clients are like, well, how do you know? You know, I'm like, oh, I've been there. Right? We've all had life, and we still have life. That's why we're here. That's why we're here. So it's just because someone seems more put together doesn't mean that that's, you know, it's
I
the
think I heard it best said by someone, I can't remember who said it this morning, but this is just the crux of it. When you see somebody who seems to have it all together, that's a person who's done an awfully lot of work when they weren't together.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, and social media is a culprit of that because you can't see behind the scenes. You only see what the person wants to give you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fascinating stuff. I could talk to you forever about this. I'm glad we're on this journey together. Thank you.
Me too. This has been an honor and a pleasure, and I'm just grateful for the opportunity.
Yeah, me too.